He stood barefoot on the cracked pavement, his hands trembling not from fear, but from hunger. "Can I fix it for a meal?" His voice was soft, almost breaking. The crowd at the diner chuckled, dismissing him as a ragged drifter. But none of them knew the truth. This man was no beggar. He was an unsung hero, a veteran, and once one of the greatest minds in the automotive world. He stood in the shadow of the gas station sign, shoulders hunched, clutching his worn jacket close against the bitter wind. His boots were torn, his face lined with years of struggle, and his stomach ached with hunger. The rusty pickup in front of him wouldn't start, its owner pacing and muttering. The old man cleared his throat and whispered, "Can I fix it for a meal?" The group of onlookers turned. Some smirked, others snickered. The diner's neon sign flickered behind them, casting cold light on the veteran's face. He waited in silence, shame washing over him, but his gaze was steady. The owner scoffed, tossing him a doubtful glance. "Sure, old man, give it a try." They thought he was just another drifter, another burden on society. None of them knew his name, his past, or the legends built from his hands. He was once called Daniel Hawk Hawkins, a decorated mechanic in the military, renowned for keeping armored vehicles running in the harshest deserts and mountains. He'd been the man commanders relied on when engines failed mid-mission, the one who could rebuild a broken machine with only a wrench, grit, and sheer determination. His medals, once polished and shining, now sat buried at the bottom of a battered duffel bag he carried everywhere. After his service, Daniel had worked for a top automobile company, leading teams that designed engines praised for their power and resilience. But when life unraveled, when tragedy struck and his family was gone, he vanished into the shadows of society. Now he wandered town to town, living on scraps, his mind sharp but his spirit scarred. And here he stood, laughed at by strangers, who saw only a man in rags. The crowd grew restless as Daniel approached the truck. He ran his hand gently along the hood, feeling the vibrations of a misfiring system. The smell of gasoline hung heavy in the air, mixed with the scent of fried food from the diner. His fingers, though calloused, moved with precision and grace. He listened closely, tilting his head, then reached into his duffel, pulling out a small roll of tools so worn they looked like relics. The owner snorted. "What's he gonna do with that junk?" But Daniel said nothing. Silence was his strength. Minutes ticked by as he worked methodically, tightening a bolt, cleaning a corroded wire, adjusting the carburetor with a delicate twist. The laughter quieted as people began to notice his confidence, the way his hands moved with expert ease. In less than 10 minutes he climbed into the cab, turned the key, and the engine roared to life, smooth, strong, like new. The crowd fell, silent. The owner blinked, stunned. Daniel stepped out, wiping his hands on his torn jacket, and said softly, "She'll run better than she has in years. Just take care of her." The diner owner, still shocked, asked him to come inside. "Get him some food," he muttered to a waitress. Daniel hesitated but followed, stomach twisting from both hunger and disbelief. He sat quietly at the far end of the counter, eating slowly, savoring every bite of the warm meal placed in front of him. Whispers filled the diner as people searched his name. A man in the corner gasped softly when he found it. Daniel Hawkins, the legendary mechanic whose innovations shaped entire car models, the veteran who once risked his life to keep soldiers alive on the battlefield. The man they had just mocked. Word spread quickly. Soon, a younger mechanic entered, eyes wide. He approached Daniel with reverence. "Sir, your work saved my father overseas. He said you rebuilt their armored vehicle under fire. You're a hero." Daniel froze, spoon halfway to his mouth. He had long forgotten what it felt like to be recognized. Another voice spoke from across the diner. I studied your engine designs in school. You changed the industry. The laughter from earlier was replaced by shame and awe. The truck's owner, red-faced, stepped forward and extended his hand. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Daniel looked up slowly, his tired eyes soft but resolute. You shouldn't need to know someone's story to treat them with respect. The words hung heavy in the air, striking deeper than any lecture could dot. The diner erupted into quiet action. Plates of food were brought to him without question. A woman offered him a warm coat. The mechanic insisted on giving him a job at his shop. Outside, people gathered near the old truck, whispering his name as though speaking it was an honor. Daniel rose to his feet, his posture tall, his dignity unshaken despite years of hardship. The owner of the diner stood at the door and said softly, "You're welcome here anytime, no questions asked." For the first time in years, Daniel felt something stir in his chest, a faint warmth, a reminder of his worth. Later that night, as he walked down the quiet street, he whispered to himself words he once told his fellow soldiers. Respect costs nothing, but its absence can cost someone everything. His story became a lesson retold in that town, a reminder that heroes don't always wear uniforms or sit in boardrooms. Sometimes they walk among us, invisible, waiting only for kindness to reveal their strength. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. Subscribe for more stories that honor those who carry silent battles unseen by the world but never forgotten.